Hey yo, we are back. We are back. Welcome everybody to another episode of Do You Still Watch Wrestling? This is the Money in the Bank preview, and I'm in here with my brother, Mr. Kojo is in the house.
We're
What's
back.
good?
We're back. We are back. We are
Can
back.
I just tell everyone? Listen, Kojo, he's a man that's been sent like by the universe, some way, somehow. Because yesterday I'm sitting there, and as you know, you've not seen the show for a while, and I was like, man, there's so much going on in wrestling right now. We've missed the unveiling of the titles that we was discussing previously. The Bloodline have gone through their madness. And then obviously we've been talking about Money in the Bank, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, Money in the Bank is coming up soon, and we need to talk about this. Let me hold out Kojo. As soon as I've gone into, was it Instagram at the time? I just see Kojo message me 2 voice notes telling me, listen, we need to jump back on this show and we need to talk about Money in the Bank, the first London event since 1992. Bro, this is epic stuff, man. But before we get into it, man, Kojo, how are you doing? What's good, bro?
Man. I'm good, man. In terms of wrestling, I'm a very happy fan. This is gonna surprise you. One of my boys bought me a ticket to Money in the Bank, so I'm going on Saturday. One of our other boys took me to the place where I'm going to be an absolute op. In August, he got me a ticket to the show at Wembley, AEW, man.
Oh my gosh!
He brought me to the AEW show, man. He bought a ticket. He bought a ticket and said, "Yo, we're going." And he said, "You're going to enjoy it." I said, "Oh my days!" I said, "Oh my days! What is happening here?" So, hey, man,
they be there live and in color, boy.
Live and in living color. Shout out to CM Punk. So yeah, man. But no, I'm gassed to be back. You know, Money in the Bank around the corner. A lot's gone on, and bro, it's good to be chatting with you again, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'll be your host, Dashiki Dash here. Make sure you like and you subscribe. Do all of that good stuff for us. And I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just like I said, there's so much been going on with wrestling. I've been watching here and there. And I've just been seeing the way, the dynamics, the characters, you know, everybody's just, it's all shaping up for this year. As I can see, like a lot of people are coming through into their own zone, and I feel like, you know, they are sharing the limelight now. We're kind of getting away from just solid Roman Reigns kind of stuff, and now you're seeing other people getting their limelight, and you know, obviously we've got Seth Rollins, who is now the world champion. They got a new title and stuff like that. So when it comes to wrestling, I'm very, very excited. Apart from that, yeah, man, just trying to jump back onto this content creating thing. You know, we've been away for a while, so hopefully this kind of spurs us on and brings us back to fruition. But yeah, man, let us get into what we're here for. Money in the Bank. This is the preview now. You're obviously going, so I'm gonna lean on you to kind of get a gist and kind of taste of what are we gonna be looking forward to in this Money in the Bank.
I think it's gonna be one of the most brilliant events you'll ever see. Thing is, they're gonna go all out, and the reason why I believe that is because obviously we've had Raw and Smackdown here, you know, in bits here in terms of shows. SummerSlam was the last major show that we've had in this country in terms of WWE. If you want to go,
man,
1992. If you want to go, I guess, sort of like when NXT was the black and gold in its prime, they did do a few London shows, takeovers, but not of the level of what this pay-per-view means. You know, I mean, and NXT was great, you know, and it still is. But the point being, it doesn't sell as much as a Money in the Bank or SummerSlam did back then. So you're talking about a gargantuan pay-per-view where this literally Money in the Bank, in my opinion, is fourth in line after, in terms of obviously WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series have the heritage. That's, they're three major pay-per-views, but Money in the Bank is the fourth in line for me. And the reason why I believe so, and that's why it's so big that it's coming to London, is because the two briefcases could literally determine who the next world champions are. You could actually have a cash in on that very night. That's how big this could be. It's history. History is going to be made, and whether the person who wins the briefcase always for the men's and the women's matches, whoever wins it, whether they cash in and succeed or fail, the fact that they're part of that history, they're 20 something Money in the Bank winners, because Money in the Bank started back in the noughties. There's very few on that list. Some people have won it twice, like Edge, like CM Punk. Like the list is very few. So when you're talking about bringing that pay-per-view to the city of London, you're not talking about just having another show. And all respect to Clash of the Castle, because that was a great show, but it was named that because it was in Wales. That's a one-off. And if they do a show like that in Wales again, they'll call it Clash of the Castle 2. Whereas this is Money in the Bank. This is straight bow. We're going for the juggler here. So, bro, this is monumental. I've been trying to stay away from wrestling Twitter a little bit. I've been watching the shows, but I've been staying away from the fans because I've just been seeing a lot of stupid takes. So I'm just, but the overall feel from people here is that they're just so excited to be watching the show, man. This is gonna be something that we've been waiting for a long time. We've been waiting for a very long time.
So for those that might not be too familiar with a Money in the Bank, as you said, if you're kind of a wrestling head, you know what SummerSlam is, you know what Royal Rumble is, you know what Survivor Series, you know what WrestleMania is, you know the four main pillar of events for WWE. Money in the Bank, like, just describe what that event is all about.
You got two briefcases. In one is the men's, one is the women's. Essentially, you've got 7 to 8, depending on the year, competitors in the Money in the Bank matches. The objective is to climb a ladder and retrieve the briefcase. Whoever has briefcase has 1 year to cash in at any moment, at any time, any event, any show, cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, and immediately put the world champion in a match where they have to defend it on the spot and put you in an advantage. So more time you've seen where someone like Big E, who would be the most recent biggest cash in, Bobby Lashley was in a match, got injured by his knee, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Big E came in and capitalized on that, cashed in. So even though Bobby Lashley had just won the match and defended his title, doesn't matter. You are now about to defend your title again, and you have no choice but to do it. You must. So that's where history comes in, because there are very few that have failed, and there are a lot that have succeeded. Rob Van Dam, Edge, CM Punk, but then the biggest names like John Cena has failed. John Cena won Money in the Bank and he failed. But if you want to talk about the biggest cash in of all time, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns brutalized each other in that match. He came in and won it within 2 minutes with a curb stomp on Roman Reigns. And if you're talking about probably one of the most exciting ones, the Raw after WrestleMania, Dolph Ziggler on Alberto Del Rio.
And that was similar as well. And like, he was injured, just had a brutal match, and then Dolph Ziggler comes, and Dolph Ziggler was red hot at that time as well. Red hot. So in terms of when cashing it in, just like Seth Rollins as well, I think barring the fact that Seth Rollins was a major, the Super Bowl event of wrestling, WrestleMania, for Dolph Ziggler to get that pop, to get that fan reaction on essentially a TV show, that was a good cash in as well.
Absolutely. And for the women's one as well, here's a bit of interesting history for everybody. No woman has failed yet to cash in the Money in the Bank. Last year was Liv Morgan cashing in on Ronda Rousey. Yeah, and beat her. They should have done better by Liv Morgan and her title run. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think they did her well. But either way, it helped her going from like being like a sort of like a little star to a big star. Like she was recognized, and then she became a champion. It became you know what, you deserve this kind of thing. Of course, wrestling fans being wrestling fans, when someone wins a world championship, after 2 days, they're like, I want you to lose it already because they're just fickle.
Yeah.
But the point being,
That was the thing, though. It's a situation where you just think to yourself, what will
I don't know if Dash has lost connection.
Oh
Hello?
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Technical
Yeah.
difficulties. The Wi-Fi.
We for the feet.
It like you said, it's one of them ones where wrestling fans can be fickle. You give them what they want, and then after this, once they have it, and you're like, nah, it's not really what we wanted, really.
Yeah, and that's why I have an issue when not that I completely disagree, but when sometimes say okay, that they are when people are like shoved down our throats. And I'm like, the issue is you love these guys for a reason. You were cheering them, each and every single one of them, even the big dog Roman Reigns, because when they broke up from the Shield, he became that sort of like just brutalizer, and he went to John Cena one time in the ring, and you were cheering him, and he went to beat him, and then he does it, and then if he beats John Cena, of course he's going to become a world championship contender. He wins it, suddenly it's, I don't like him. He's being shot down our throats. No, the reason why he's up there is because even though I don't like agreeing with what most of what Vince says, it's because you guys cheer him to the moon.
Yeah.
You see him as a star. You back him. In the Shield, he was seen as the muscle, and when he came into the ring, you were excited. So, like, that's why he's there. So, someone like Liv Morgan, her star was starting to grow, and she became a star. They pulled the trigger on her and said, all right, let's do this, Money in the Bank, and cash in on the same night. She's successful, and after a couple of days or a month, you're like, nah, I don't want this anymore. Well, you asked for it, so shut up. Have it. Yeah? Have it. You're like kids that say, oh yeah, when I get home I want rice, and then when the rice is there, I don't want it anymore. Shut up, you're going to eat it. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm going to rice and stew for you and tell me you don't want to eat it. You will eat the food. Foolish girl.
I want nuggets.
Oh, I want nuggets. I want McDonald's. But he's having McDonald's. I don't care. You say you want rice, I'll give you rice. Shut up and eat the food, man.
Oh man! But just before we get into like the card itself, the significance of, I know we've just kind of touched on it, but the significance of having this event in London. The last event, SummerSlam, was in 1992. After this event, because I can't see this event not being a success, do you think London will finally get the WrestleMania after this event?
I think within the next 5 years. Because I feel like, I don't know how they do it, but I feel like they plan at least 3 years in advance. And I think they're going to keep a very close eye on what happens with AEW at Wembley. Because the question has always been, can they do a WrestleMania in at Wembley? And the issue is, there's no issue per se, but unlike America, where in certain states where you guarantee like you can have an open top because the weather will be beautiful and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's these little things that matter, because in April it was still raining here. It wasn't warm.
Yeah,
so you're not gonna have an open top stadium and have rain just pouring down on fans. I do forget if Wembley does have a roof that closes. I feel like it does, but I could be wrong.
Nah, Wembley doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's Cardiff.
That's the Millennium Stadium. You're right.
Millennium Stadium has the roof.
Well, then I don't know how.
That's the thing about the UK, isn't it? Look, we've just had beautiful weather, near 30 degrees, or if not 30 degrees, and then the next couple of days afterwards, the weather's just looking a bit mad out there. It's a bit drizzling or whatever. So you can plan for such good weather, and then, like you said, if it starts raining, then it kind of ruins that kind of vibe. But in terms of capacity, 90,000 can definitely be done in a Wembley stadium.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe not as big in terms of size wise, but in terms of just capacity alone, you can fit 90,000. So you could just imagine, man, 90,000 of wrestling fans.
AEW is close to being sold out, and they are without a doubt the second company. WWE alone on heritage, just on heritage alone can sell because you can have, I don't know, you can go on Twitter right now and if WWE said, hey, WrestleMania is coming to London next April, even the people that are ultra casuals or people that just haven't watched them like the last 10 years would be like, yo, Mania
Yeah.
here, I'm going. I will find a way to, bro, just on heritage alone, they'll have it. So like, bro, if they want to do it, do it. And I can't lie, I'll pay everything. I'll pay everything. I'll pay everything. I will give Baron Corbin my house. Live there. Have it. Have it. It's yours. Do it. So yeah, man.
Ain't he the lone wolf now?
He is, yeah. Oh yeah. I think I tagged you on that on Twitter.
Yeah. He's the. Oh
I'm
man, I
glad.
don't know.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
you
glad.
think so?
Yeah, man. Because thing is, I'm gonna give some respect to him. He's not part of the pay-per-view because he's been doing a lot of NXT stuff recently. I feel like anytime they give him something, he knocks it out of the park. He just hasn't been given, in my opinion, the best sort of runs. They gave him Money in the Bank, made him fail that against Jinder
He
Mahal.
felt that. Yeah.
He failed, and then he gave him the United States title. I think he did well with it, but you know, if you don't give him like a, he's one of the few heels that are actually just heels. He's not liked by anybody in arenas, which is good. So even if you got like 3 or 4 people that would like him in an arena, the rest of them, you know, don't. So that's why it was such a surprise. Where I don't know if you saw the video that went viral when they did the WWE live show in France, and the French crowd went crazy for him.
Oh wow.
They went crazy for him, and they were cheering everything that he did. Like he was the mega. He was getting, dare I say, like Cena reaction kind of thing
On Baron Corbin.
on Baron Corbin, bro. It was crazy. They were singing his name. They were. I mean, to be fair, that crowd was incredible because they sang Seth Rollins songs for about 13 minutes. So, so they went off, but they loved him, and it's because from what I was gauging from Twitter, it was just appreciation. They see him as a guy that, even if he hasn't been given the best sort of things with the Happy Corbin and the one that was broke for a little bit, and then whatever they gave him after that.
He's tried though, but he has tried.
He's done a lot, man. He's done a lot, and he sold the heel role so well, so well. So I got respect for him, man. So the Lone Wolf, I think he needs that. He brought back his old first song as well, and the entrance,
I was surprised when I saw it in NXT. I was like, okay, you're actually really going with this character now. You're back with it.
He should do it. And bro, the entrance hits. The entrance hits. It goes dark. 6 spotlights come on.
Yeah.
When he walks through, one of them go off one by one. Goes down, brings his arms up. Lone Wolf. It hits. It hits. It hits.
Man.
Stay as Lone Wolf and do your thing, man. And when he was a Lone Wolf under Triple H at NXT, you could see that he was going to be a star. So if Vince stops changing things after 2 hours, yeah, man, you'll see. I think he got a star there still, man.
Man, like Baron Corbin. All right, cool. So I just literally, my phone's just packed in. So I'm just trying to get the card for Money in the Bank. Hold on 1 second.
Money.
Let's just start with the obvious ones. Obviously, let's not waste no time. And we know the bloodline that are having their issues. So there's going to be obviously events within Money in the Bank that are not just involving climbing a ladder and getting the briefcase. There are some grudge matches. So we've got like the bloodline who are going to be facing each other. So there's a civil war going on with Roman Reigns and his cousins, the Usos, and also the Usos versus their own brother Solo Sikoa. So unrest, turmoil that's been going on. It's been brewing for a very long time. The way Roman Reigns has just been physically chiefing the Usos, and how he's just basically brought in Solo Sikoa more to his bosom, kind of grooming him to be in the next right-hand man, really. But at the same time, we're looking at Solo and thinking, boy, like, I don't know where you really lie, because there's some days I feel like you might even just turn on Roman Reigns. But so it's going to be very interesting. What's your take? Because obviously we've discussed on many occasions when it comes to the bloodline, how it's going to come to an end in terms of their storyline, whether it's going to be an end or it's just a little reprieve. Like, where are you now with what we were, kind of predicting to what has come to fruition now? Where are you at with the bloodline?
I'm delighted with everything that's happened. And I think it makes sense. Every twist makes sense, and it's almost like they almost get you. And the thing about this story is, just when you think you know something for sure is going to happen,
Yeah.
they suddenly give you a little twister. And I like it in the sense that even though continuous twists can get a bit at some point a bit boring and tedious and be like, come on, end it. It's subtle little things that they do in there where you have to really take notice and be like, ooh, okay, this is good until the obvious explosion happens. And for this match, it's been built up so well because ever since they lost the tag team titles at WrestleMania, there's been like just little bits where Roman suddenly wasn't acknowledging them anymore, and Jimmy was the first to clock it because
Yeah.
Jimmy was obviously saying like, this guy will use you and everything, and then once he's done with you or you're not doing things his way, he's gonna try and throw you out and disrespect you. And it rings true because if you look at it, since they lost the title, sorry, to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Raw after WrestleMania when he was introduced by Triple H, the Usos weren't invited. Paul Heyman kept on directing them away, saying, "Oh yeah, we've got you food on the jet. Go and enjoy yourself, and take the night off, all that stuff." And it's just the little things, but then Solo's always there, no matter what, because he is the enforcer.
Yeah, he's the right hand man. He's the right hand man now.
He is the right hand man, and obviously Roman hasn't really said it, and even before Jimmy on the day rather that Jay turned on Roman as well, they made that little twist where Roman was like, when we called you right hand man, it was Paul Heyman's idea, but your brother was the only person in the whole family that had an issue with it. But what I liked there was Jimmy could have been like, no, that's a lie. He said, yeah, I did. Because they're brothers. He ain't gonna lie to his bro. See, yeah, I did. And then, he let Jimmy go off on him. He let Jay go off him, and Jimmy just stood there and took it because he's like, all right, cool, I deserve that. And then he goes, you're out. And the Roman's there like, yeah, man, I've got my way again. I'm out too. Bow. Straight to the jaw.
Like, clean. Do you know what? Yeah, when it comes to the Usos, yeah, they have one of the most cleanest sweet chin music super kicks in the industry.
Yep.
It really connects. Sometimes I know that they go to the back and be like, yo, dog, like, man, you did that a bit too hard, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, chill out on that. Chill out on that, man. Because it always connects. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's the special thing about them. That's why I feel like they're such a good tag team, because they're so smooth in the ring. I always rate the people that make it look easy and make it look simple, because wrestling's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, and they do the great things without being over the top of it. That's why I'm so high on them. But look, the story just makes sense. You've gone from, and it's full circle as well, because they're gonna always remember the fact that Roman literally brutalized them before he accepted them.
Yeah,
always
forget about that.
Yeah, because he beat up Jay and brutalized them. Even when Jimmy was injured and tried to stop them fighting, he goes, "Bro, my brother's on the floor, but you're my cousin. I still love you, man. Let's stop this. We don't need to do this." And you choked the guy out. You choked him out. You choked him out. Like, why?
I watched it the other day. He was gasping for his life. He's like, "Help me, help me!" Jay was unconscious on the floor. Gets up, his brother's being choked out. Like, listen, you better quit, otherwise your brother is gone. Roman Reigns was prepared to take out his cousin for the sake of his other cousin's services. Like, you need to pledge your allegiance to me, acknowledge me.
By force, by fire, and
by force, by fire.
Whilst one is trying to regain his whole consciousness, and the other one just holding his neck and his knee at the same time. Alpha and Seeker are on the ramp, ready to give him his flowers and
Yeah.
officially name him the head of the table. Yeah, man, bro.
Do you know what? Just even you just mentioning that, those are legendary Samoan, family dynasty. Do you think that they've not utilized enough of that in this storyline,
I
based
was
off
thinking,
like maybe if we see it in the Usos' eyes, like Roman Reigns at this present moment is out of control.
mm,
Like, is this approved by the higher, chiefs, or is this a rogue kind of thing that Roman Reigns is going off with?
that's the thing I was thinking, because actually now that you said that, because I was thinking about that a couple of days ago, because someone like even someone like Rikishi, he keeps like
Mm.
tweeting about the story because he's enjoying it. You can tell he's loving the
Yeah, he
story.
loves the storyline. He loves it.
Um, and I was thinking like maybe that's why they were so high on bringing the Rock back, because they can do a proper family storyline there, and the Rock could be like, I didn't have to disrespect the fam for me to get on top. I did me, and I
Mm.
became the biggest star on the planet. Whereas with you, you got I don't know, you'll do these sort of tactics, and yeah, the Rock was
Oh,
never.
so you're still thinking that there's an angle for the Rock to be involved in the storyline?
I think at some point the Rock will be involved, but to what capacity I don't know, because I don't think we're gonna get a match from him. I don't believe enough in the Rock to come back to do a match.
Yeah, I think he's giving. I think he's done. I think
Yeah, I
personally.
think he's done as well. And more to the point, like
Keep,
Mania
keep going.
is
Keep going. Keep going.
yeah, Mania is end of March, beginning of April always. So like someone like you, who I understand you're busy, your schedule is always gonna be busy.
Mm.
You're a megastar in the acting world. Um, because of that, your schedule's busy, but I think you know how to put time aside. So, like, Cena, John Cena's not on your level in terms of stardom in the acting world. You've gone clear. You're clear.
Yeah.
Cena's following you. He joined the Fast series because you were there. Like, that's the kind of thing that he's trying to catch up to. But he knows if I'm going to compete at Matchmania, I'm making sure that these days are clear so that I can come and build the match, do the match, and then go. I don't think The Rock has enough desire to get back in the ring anymore, and that's fine because his legacy is set. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need to do the match. It's just a dream match more than anything, and doesn't need
Yeah,
to
it's
happen.
just a dream match.
It's a dream match rather than a. I mean, even at this stage of your career, you don't need to do a match that means particularly something. But I feel like you want to do a match that means something, and I feel like even though this would mean something, you've got the lineage, you've got the family heritage, and look, Roman could eventually lose a title, and then the whole family starts disrespecting him. These guys, the Alpha and Seeker, and she'll look at him and say, "Yeah, you're not the head of the table no more. You're not the head of the family no more. You lost your right to say that because you can't control these guys. I don't know what Solo's going to do, and you've lost the title now. You've lost control. That could happen, as you said,
Mm.
and then that could be an opening for The Rock. But I just feel
But
like,
you know what the Roman Reigns and the Rock fight reminds me of. It reminds me of Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Like, it's
ah,
gone on for so long for us to have this match up, and then
yeah,
if it eventually does happen, it'd be like, maybe it's a little too late. I'm seeing The Rock on the socials right now. The face is looking more leathery. He's looking old. Uh,
I'm gonna start using that.
Roman Reigns himself is not, these days. I don't know if he's banging out gym, and he's kind of, not in the
Picking it a little
greatest
bit,
of
isn't it?
shape.
Yeah.
But listen, on paper, we know if this matchup was to ever come through, would all be interested in, because that both of them, especially Roman Reigns, he's come a long way in regards to being able to talk on the mic. It'll be interesting to see how The Rock would be if he come back and how his mic skills are, because the more so that The Rock has gone away from wrestling, the more that we've seen more Dwayne Johnson than The Rock.
Yeah.
So it'd be quite interesting in the dynamics. But look, these are
Can I
all
just say something on that? Can I say something on
yeah,
that during the Rock Johnson thing? Because when he came back, he did his comeback, and then he said something as Dwayne, and then went back to character as the Rock, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a bit of his mystique was taken away from him the day that John Cena baited out the promo notes on your wristing. When he
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah. It not even a bit. It it absolutely crashed the whole notion of The Rock being like the best on the mic, because we just
mm,
always felt like he was off the cusp of everything that he does. And then to just kind of discover the magic behind the curtains, as they say, once you
yeah,
pull back the curtains and you see the short man that was the wizard, you're like, oh, is this it?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, but he's an entertainer. I'm sure that you be able to find his way in regards to coming back to WWE. All right, cool. I've been struggling to get this up in regards to the scheduling, the card, but I
mm,
think I have got it. Aha, here we go. Cool. So that was one of the individual events away from the actual ladder. Let's just go into. I'll read out in terms of like the men's Money in the Bank, which
mm,
has LA Knight, a fan favorite at the moment. Yeah.
yeah,
And he is exuberating a lot of the old school mic skills. Um, Sometimes I feel like he overdoes it, but maybe it's because it's been a while since we kind of heard a wrestler like that.
yeah.
But I like the old school feel. I'm not gonna lie, I like the old school feel.
Mm.
Then you got Logan Paul, Mr. Beverage himself. I will avoid mentioning the beverages because we're not getting paid here. Logan Paul, listen, for me, I don't know how you feel about Logan Paul, but I think every time comes to WWE, he delivers.
Facts.
Yeah. Damian Priest. What's your take on Damian Priest, man? Like, let me know what you think, because for me, I've just never completely been sold on him. I don't know if it's his character or it's just
Mm.
the look. There's something I just can't put my finger on it.
No, I like him. I think he just needs to be given a bit more of a prominent role. It's a sticky one because he's actually got the build and the look to be a champion. And he's actually okay on the mic. You know, when he's not doing the everybody rise for the Judgment Day stuff. That's by force. That's by force. But
Yeah.
he can actually speak, and it works in his favor as well that he's so fluent in English and Spanish, so he can deliver on two levels. But I hear what you're saying. It's just I feel like he's in a difficult position because I know that they want to push Finn Balor in that group.
Mm.
Dominic is the ultra heel. Mami is just Mami. That she's untouchable. So where do you stand out? Are you just like the henchman there that they need to back them? Whereas I feel like at this stage, if they build him, dare I say, properly, whatever that
Mm.
means, he could be a bigger threat to Seth Rollins than Finn Balor is. Because Finn Balor's one is more about revenge. You injured me years ago. I need to get my revenge
Yeah.
on you. Whereas Damien Priest is a guy that sort of lost his way, found his way back with Edge, and said, you know what? I'm a destroyer. And this is the kind of thing that we've been asking about because back in the day with the big tour wrestlers, unless you were the Undertaker, you kind of had always like in between roles. Sometimes you'd be serious, you'd be a monster, sometimes you'd be a joker. You know,
Yeah.
when you got tall athletic wrestlers, or you got just like big stocky ones or hench ones like Big Show, like Mark Henry, like Kane, I don't know, Big Daddy V, and all. Just let them be destroyers, man, and
Mm.
let them be unique. They should have been using Mark Henry the way they used Brock Lesnar in under the Vince era, where it's like he became world champion, but he was still on the show every week wrestling. Let the guy just be like, you coming to me now? Okay, I'll deal with you. You're not gonna deal with me
Yeah,
every week and
yeah.
try to do stuff
You
because
can't always see the boss always out all the time.
there you go. Sometimes you have to wait for me, and that's why I'm calm with Roman Reigns and his deal as champion right now because the champion should be an attraction. So you're not going to see the champion every week, but his name is going to be recognized. His presence is felt. And that's how it is with Roman Reigns. When he's not there, you still feel Roman Reigns and you crave to see Roman Reigns. So when he's coming next week, it's like, I'm watching. I am
Yeah.
there. Whereas back
Shows
then,
attraction.
yeah, like someone like Big Show. Big Show,
Well, I miss that,
well,
man.
Big Show. He had the build. And sometimes when you're a monster like that, you don't need to be great on the mic. You just need to be a destroyer. And they didn't. Sometimes they didn't follow with that. He did too many jokey things, and then he'll be a heel next week, and a good guy 2 weeks later, and then a bad guy 3 weeks later. Like just so with Damian Priest, I feel like they're doing well. He's a heel. He stayed a heel consistently for a while now. Let him remain a heel. Seth Rollins is the hot baby face. In my opinion, if he was to win the Money in the Bank, if he wins it, you got two ways to do this. You can either make him an ultra heel or an ultra face, and that depends on who he cashes in on. If he cashes in on Seth Rollins and beats him, you're hated because Seth Rollins is the guy for Raw. If Seth Rollins loses it to Finn Balor and then you cash in on Finn Balor, you could be the face. And you can go from telling Dominic that I'll back you to telling Dominic to shut up, and that alone right now will turn you an ultra face because everyone hates that guy. And by the way, he's doing a stellar job, so well done to him. But yeah, man, I like him. I just feel like he needs that big break. When it comes, we'll give him a bit more acknowledgement.
All right, so that was Damian Priest. There's Shinsuke Nakamura, Mr. Kinshasa.
My guy.
I always find that weird that the guy Nakamura has got a Kinshasa Congolese move. But yeah, we'll move on from that. I'm going to ask him one day if he speaks Lingala. Then we got Ricochet. You know what you're going to get with Ricochet.
Yeah, man.
High flying, just everything up in the air. Santos Escobar and Butch, which I was quite surprised got Butch in the Money in the Bank. I hate these filler wrestlers, man. You know that he ain't gonna.
He ain't gonna win it. But I feel like on Saturday you'll see the return of Pete Dunne.
Okay,
that's what I feel like. I feel like the name's gonna change. Apparently, I read the article months ago where Triple H said that he will get his name back, but he just hasn't pulled the trigger on it yet. But I feel like when he's back in London, we'll see the Bruiserweight again.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Now that makes sense. The reason being why he's in the Money in the Bank, the whole London thing makes sense. Good. All right, so let's just jump straight into. Actually, So your prediction is for who to win?
LA Knight.
Yeah. Hey, Knight. Yeah. He's red hot right now, so I could see him winning that as well. And the fact that you got to remember as well, when you win the briefcase or the Money in the Bank briefcase, you got the whole year, as you mentioned. You got to also have somebody that's going to be able to carry that briefcase throughout that period.
Yeah.
To embody that briefcase, to have it in their arsenal of attacks, delivery, how they hold it, how they incorporate into their character. And LA Knight would definitely be able to carry that amongst all the other wrestlers. Maybe Logan Paul.
Maybe, but I don't think that's a good idea.
Maybe Logan Paul.
Could be.
But I reckon LA Knight. Let's go over to the ladies, the women who are doing amazing things as well. We have the man, Becky Lynch, who is pretty much the favorite for winning this Money in the Bank. You got Bayley, Zoe Stark, Zelina Vega, and Trish Stratus. Stratisfaction.
That's my babe, man. That's number one babes forever. Number one babes forever.
She's looking good, man.
So, bro.
No, listen, in terms of like Hall of Famer, legend, paved the way for many of the female wrestlers that we're seeing now. I don't know how old she is now, but she's been around for a very long time, and she is still going. Like in a sense, like I've seen Lita in the ring, and sometimes I don't know if it's the high flying and the impacts that's kind of maybe injuries that she's suffered over the years, but she doesn't move and go as she once did. But when you're looking at when you're seeing Trish Stratus in the ring, you're like, yo, you're still going with a lot of these young athletes, and the skill set is completely different to when she was wrestling
Yeah.
to now. There's a lot more high flying moves. There's a lot more impactful moves, and she's still going. And I rate that, man. And I rate the fact that she's come back and she's giving back to the new wrestlers. What's your take about the women's Money in the Bank, and the champions are currently who?
Rhea Ripley and Asuka,
Rhea
yeah.
Ripley, yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever wins this gets a bite at those titles there. Who do you reckon is going? Who's your favorite, basically?
Ooh, I've been thinking about that. I'm not sure who my favorite actually is, but I would. Okay, my favorite to win the match in terms of who I think would be their number one thought would be Becky Lynch, because I know they love Becky Lynch, but my actual want to win would be Io.
Okay,
I
why?
want Io to win it because Io has the potential to be one of the best champions ever, and I feel like they need to pull the trigger on that again. Because the thing that is so good about these Japanese wrestlers, her, Asuka, Shinsuke, is they don't need to be dropping bars. They've got enough charisma to actually go out there and just show, like Asuka, I think is actually good on the mic. Obviously, English is not her first language, so she'll never be completely smooth at it. But she's done it enough to prove that she is a destroyer in the ring when she wants to be absolutely serious, and when she wants to joke around as well and be a heel or a funny heel or a bad heel, she still has the charisma and the know-how in the ring to do it. Io Shirai or Io Sky rather actually is now. I know NXT is very different to the main show, but a champion is a champion. The reason why she was champion there for so long is because once she got into a heel run and became the genius of the sky that we actually know, her main selling point is there's no one, and I mean no one, that's better than her in that ring.
Okay.
Point blank, period. You're not close. You're not close. You don't get close. And even when she was a heel, she didn't even need to use cheap tactics. She was just that much better than you, but she
Yeah.
hated the crowd, and she was able to show her attitude through it. And her attitude came through, but you could also see the arrogance of her. I know I'm this good.
Yeah.
If she can sell that on the main roster and they do it well, she's untouchable. I remember I was saying on the last show that we did, a dream match of mine is her versus Asuka. You got two
You did
Japanese
say that.
legends.
Yeah, you did say that.
Those two in a match, I believe, could be absolute magic. The thing about the Rhea Ripley problem is I don't know who can beat Rhea Ripley apart from Raquel Rodriguez, just because she's got the size. But it's weird because, and I don't think it's a Triple H problem. I know there's been reports about Vince changing the show after like 2 hours before the show starts, he changed the script, right? About 2 or 3 weeks prior, she was going face to face with Rhea Ripley. She was
Yeah.
laughing. She was laughing in Rhea's face. I'm not scared of you. These guys might be scared of you, but I'm not scared of you. I will step to you. To suddenly, well, I want the titles that I never lost with Liv Morgan now. So let's go back.
Yeah, yeah. They're
Like,
going for the world, the tag team title run and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
And
Yeah.
I guess it's good for Rhea to have a good long run because she's a dominant champion, and that's fair. That's fine by me. So however long the run is, I'm not going to complain because she's damn good at her job. Sorry, bro, I can't hear you. You're not on mute, but I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was saying that when it comes to WWE and women's title, often enough, I've always said when you give it to your Charlotte Flairs, your Rhea Ripley's right now, it's just like, who are the realistic rivals? Because as I see it now, I as you said, Rodriguez, she's probably the most viable like opponent. that you can believe, like, all right, cool. If they go toe to toe, it's gonna be a decent match. Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley is gonna be a decent match. Bianca Belair, decent match. You can throw Becky Lynch in there, but then after that, you know, it's quite tough. Obviously, you can throw in Ronda Rousey, but anyone else, you just don't see it. But once everybody else is tied up, and you're just left like with maybe one, it's just difficult to believe that who can take the title off of Rhea Ripley. But it's going to be interesting. I think I did make a mistake to say that Becky Lynch was one of the favorites. It's actually Io Sky, as you said. She's touted to be the favorite to win this Money in the Bank. So I think you might be spot on in terms of, like, if she wins it, it's definitely going to be an Asuka route that she's going to be going for in terms of that. So that's going to be real interesting. I always look forward to the women's Money in the Bank, because I think every Money in the Bank that they do, they push the envelope, they raise their bar, and you know, most times they've had actually better Money in the Banks than the men. All right, cool. So away from the Money in the Bank actual official matches, we just went through the men's and the women's. We spoke about the Bloodline, which are the kind of, you know, matchups away from Money in the Bank. The next one here, we've got Seth freaking Rollins up against Finn Balor. Now, before you give your opinion, like, for me, I'm a bit underwhelmed by this, man. First and foremost, I'm not feeling Seth Rollins as this world champion.
Really?
And nah. He's too. I think the title itself is just too accessible, and it doesn't make sense. I was never really a fan of this. It's just like, you've given Roman Reigns the 2 titles. You couldn't beat him to no fault of his own. And then you was like, you know what? Because we can't get this title of this man, let's go and make a new one. And then, you know, it's every week. Like, the title right now, it feels like the US title. These open match challenges and yeah, man, I don't know. Like, and then obviously being Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, there's not enough in this for me. I know that they got the history of the fact that Finn Balor lost his title with a Universal title, this and that. But ever since then, I don't think Finn Balor's been strong enough to reach world title level anyway. So that's the reason why he's not been able to go after these titles, because he just doesn't have much about him. Even being in Judgment Day, he still doesn't really stand out as the Judgment Day leader. I would even put that more so to Damien Priest, who can actually take that role, or, as I've mentioned before, Rhea Ripley. So in terms of an opponent for Seth Rollins as well, it's just like, yeah, you know, not really too stoked about that. But then, I don't know, man. Let me know how you feel about this.
Now you put it that way, but the open challenges has rattled me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I get it, and you know, he went back to NXT, and it, you know, they will spin these narratives or the storyline based on, like, you know, Seth Rollins is going back to where it started. You know, it's being that he's the first world heavyweight champ with this title to go back to NXT because he was the first champion there, and it's like, bro, as you mentioned, if I'm the boss and I'm the champ, you come to me, like, make it that you come to me. But I don't know how this title thing works, and then it all ties in together in it. Like, Roman Reigns has the 2 titles over there, so is there essentially 3 titles, or is there, you know, it's just I don't know what's going on right now.
I think the gold one is supposed to be the title, and then the Universal and the WWE being split no longer is split. But obviously he carries 3 now because he's a boss man like that, isn't he? You know what I'm saying? He can do this thing no matter what.
I know the gold one is one of the titles, because he was meant to give up so basically he gets the gold title for obviously celebrating his 1,000 days or whatnot, but it represents, I think it still represents Raw, SmackDown. I see. I'm still confused about it all, because it's just like, what is he essentially? Just a 1 title guy? holding 3 belts, or is there 2 titles with the fact that one day Roman Reigns can then go and fight for that title that Seth Rollins has got? Like, how is it working?
I think what's happening is I think it's like this. I do think the gold title is the one title now. I think he's carrying the other two just as sort of not decoration, because obviously he's been holding the 2 titles for time, but the gold one is the main one. I think I'm trying to say, like, essentially when he loses the title, whoever wins it from him will be holding that one title, and I feel like that's going to be called, again, it's going to be called the WWE title, because right now he's called the WWE Universal Champion and Seth is the World Heavyweight Champion. But by brand, you need to be the WWE Championship, point blank, period. Right?
Yeah.
That's where I feel about that. But what you said about Seth Rollins, and the thing is, I think Seth Rollins is a good champion. It's difficult. It's a difficult position that they put themselves in, and that's where I feel like Triple H was in a tough spot from what Vince did, because Vince essentially, like we said about the women, like you've built essentially these stars to be the stars, and even though the idea is you want to build more stars to eventually take them from the throne, Roman Reigns looks like the guy that just can't be beaten by anybody, because he's beaten everybody. He hasn't beaten Seth Rollins. He was disqualified at that Rumble match, so he hasn't actually beaten him, which is okay, because they're going to say Seth Rollins is still the only guy that Roman hasn't beaten, and I'm sure they'll try and revisit that in the future. But, you know, once he... And that was my issue with him beating Cody Rhodes, because even though I didn't mind whichever one won, because I'm enjoying Roman Reigns' title run, if Cody Rhodes comes back and doesn't finish the story against this guy, who's next to then beat? You know what I mean? Who else is left? Are you gonna do another roster turn, and then Seth Rollins is suddenly now on the same roster as Roman Reigns, and then you never beat me, so I'm back here again. I'm the guy that's pretty much terrorized you your whole career, and he eventually does beat him. Is one of the cousins gonna do it? Because I don't think you're gonna put the world title on Solo, Jay, or Jimmy, in my opinion. Even though I feel like
they can't hold weight like that.
Yeah, whereas I think Jay can do it for like a couple of months, but you wouldn't give him, a long title run, in my opinion. And that's not disrespect on him. I just feel like
that would be sweet, though.
It would be a sweet ending, because
Jay could hold the mic, man, and you know that he would be cold with it,
bro. And he can say, "Look, you call me the right hand man. I'm coming for the throne now." There's a story behind it, but do you give it to him? Do you pull the trigger and say, we're going to give it to him and end it here? I don't know. Now, with the World Heavyweight title, obviously, because no one can beat Roman, but they needed 2 titles on 2 different shows, because the other show can't be unimportant, and they were doing a good job with the United States title on Raw. But once you move that to SmackDown, which I want to get into soon, by the way, once you move that to SmackDown, and obviously move Gunther onto Raw, Gunther's a brilliant champion, but you're not selling the Intercontinental Championship the way you're selling the United States Championship, which is whatever circumstance.
Yeah.
So you've given him the world title to this guy. He is definitely second in line to Roman Reigns in the company. That's what it is. Right now he's a megastar, not only because of what he can do in the ring, but his song as well also hits, so that people will love him for that as well.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. In relation to his match with Finn.
Yeah. What about Finn Balor? Like, what is he bringing to the table?
Finn, this is where it hurts me with Finn. Finn left the main roster to go back to NXT to become the Prince. He became a badass heel who was good on the mic and was just able to stomp through all his opponents, and then eventually left for the main roster again. And when he came back to the main roster, he was still the Prince, but Vince sort of brought back the old character that wasn't working, that he wasn't enjoying. And then you sort of thrust him into the Judgment Day because he wanted to be a heel. And you said, okay, we'll put you in there. And the thing is, the 4 of them have made it work. I think they're a brilliant group. But the issue is, Finn doesn't... The great thing about him being a heel in NXT was he didn't need the help. He didn't need to be like a cowardish heel and then suddenly now be angry and bring back the demon, and that's why he didn't even need the demon. The demon for me should come back every 3 years. That should be a straight, I haven't seen you in a while. He's like, oh shit, I can't beat this guy. you know what, I have to really like delve deeper now. Like they always say, you know,
It should be more. Sorry to cut you. It should be more in a sense of a sadistic type of behavior. Like you've reached the end of your tether, like, and you're like you snap, and then it's like he's lost his mind. He's gone to a dark place. Then do it. Not just the case where like with Edge just called out the demon out of nowhere. Like, yo, bring the demon here next week.
and then he lost. He lost. This is where I feel sorry for Finn, because these things, the demon was supposed to be the untouchable character. That's the thing. Is like when Bray brought the Fiend in, but then you realize the Fiend wasn't there for every single match because he shouldn't.
Yeah.
So Finn shouldn't bring the demon for it, which he wasn't doing, and then you bring him back for WrestleMania, a one-off, and he loses to a guy that doesn't need it. I love Edge. I'm one of Edge's biggest fans on this planet.
He didn't need to win. Edge didn't need to win that match
because after he won, where has he been? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where has he gone? If Finn beats him and then just goes on a monster run after that, this match now looks crazy to the point where you say Seth is not an overwhelming favorite anymore. He can lose this, whereas you're going to look at that and say, Finn, you know, they're giving him this run, but Seth is going to beat him. He's going to cost up at some point, and he's going to keep the title.
That's why I asked you that question. It's like, what does Finn Balor have to offer? Because I just look at it, and it's just a matchup where you look at it and you think to yourself, like, we know that Seth Rollins is going to win this. Now, I know that we've watched so many Roman Reigns matchups, and we're like, we know Roman Reigns is going to win, but you still have a slight, like, maybe it could be on this occasion. Maybe it's this time. But with the Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, I don't see like, maybe it's going to be a run for Finn Balor to be world champion and to have Judgment Day, because, you know, ultimately it's Rhea Ripley that's holding up Judgment Day as being, you know, a world champion, women's champion, and she's going through her run. But let's skip to that matchup as well. So who is it? Rhea Ripley versus.
Has she got a match?
Has she got a match? I know she hasn't got a match, has she? It's it's Dominic versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
I knew there was a segue there. Awful segue, but yeah. Dominic versus Cody Rhodes. I've actually enjoyed this build-up. I've enjoyed it. You've got a red hot face and an absolute diabolical heel.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it out there. I think Dominic Mysterio has probably been one of the best heels in the last 5 years.
Can't lie to you. I'm going to say ever.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah.
It's pure hatred.
He's amongst the heels that you like. He is a heel. There's no liking him in the sense of like, you know, you're actually watching your think to yourself, man, I want this guy to get everything that he deserves. And I'm a heel guy. But I'm a heel guy because the heels that I liked, eventually they were cool, like heels, you know what I mean? And I like that, you know, I like the coolness about your heel. This is just a weasel.
Yes.
we haven't had a weasel for the longest time. And when I say weasel, this character, if you've not watched Dominic Mysterio, he's right-hand person, or the person that, you know, that he's always around, is Rhea Ripley, mommy, and he's always hiding behind her. So whenever mommy steps in front, the guys can't obviously punch her up, or they can't do nothing. So it's like hiding behind your mom's coattails, like, you know, you're just hiding. And this is what he's doing. He has done so well. And you know, on this show, I criticized Dominic Mysterio from the jump. I didn't give him his chance. I was like, what the hell is he doing? He came with this whole prison character, and I was like, this is awful. Where are they going with this? And how he's developed this character is amazing. For someone that technically in the ring, he's not the greatest. He's still not the greatest on the mic, but his awkwardness is what helps him as well. It's like, you're like, this is mad awkward, but at the same time, it's working because you're a weasel, and weasels don't get things perfect. You know, you're just weaseling your way out of this. How are you seeing this matchup? Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio.
No, I'm calm with it. I mean, I thought first of all, I thought it was just gonna be not. I don't want to call it a filler match because they'll give them the right time, but it was just like, okay, you haven't got something for Cody right now, whilst Brock Lesnar is taking his little sabbatical before he comes back for I don't know SummerSlam. Can't lie. By the way, if I hear that on Saturday, I'm going to lose my head. Oh my goodness!
You might. You might.
If I hear that, bro, my life is complete. I won't go to another show ever again. I'm done. I'm done. I'll sell the AEW ticket. Go, you go. I don't need wrestling again. I'm done. I'll watch it from home after this. I don't need to go again.
By the way, guys, Kojo is going live. He's gonna be there live and in person. Money in the Bank, man. Man. Yes, I'm still trying, man. Fingers crossed, man.
I do not want to talk about the price that has been paid, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do, man.
We move.
You know what I mean? Sometimes fatherhood is about enjoying yourself as well. So we're here. Yeah, man. No, I'm calm with it. Look, Cody and him, I think Cody just wants to teach him like a lesson, essentially, because he called him a deadbeat dad like Rey Mysterio. And you know, he's now gone to the point where saying, we're gonna see in the ring if you're even half the man that your father is. And
this was on Raw, just on Monday, right?
Yeah, and that touched him. You can tell it touched him. Like, yo, you're questioning my manhood against my dad. Like, no, I'm not having that. So I like it. It's a good match, and like you said, it's actually someone that's a good guy versus a bad guy. There's no in betweens here, or the good guy being a bit booed and the bad guy being a bit cheered. There is just pure hate and love.
You know what's so ironic about this, though? Stick with me with this for a second. You got Cody Rhodes and his dad being a legend, Dusty Rhodes, you know, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And at one point, Cody Rhodes was considered the Weasel son, you know, the kind of, you know what I mean? Like he was also same kind of similar situations. You can't really live up to your dad, even the brother as well, Goldust.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing a similar kind of storyline with Dominic Mysterio. And then you got Cody Rhodes, who was like the former Weasel, who is now trying to give Dominic Mysterio advice about, you know, being a man and, you know what I mean, being a better son to his father and stuff like that. So this is it's quite interesting dynamics in terms of the storyline.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that actually as well, because that's when Cody became a heel and went with Randy Orton, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, no, you know what? I didn't think about that. So no, that's actually a twist. And I'm surprised. Well, maybe they didn't think about that with the writers, but maybe that's something they could have brought up and said, "You're talking about me, but didn't you do the same thing?" So like,
they need us, man. WWE, come on at us, man.
High demand them, man. High demand them. But no, I'm happy because I think it's gonna be a good match. Dominic just keeps getting better in the ring every time. You can see it. He's getting more and more comfortable. And the good thing about him is he delivers heel moments in the perfect moments, like the little hit and runs and then running away.
Yeah.
And then the way he does like Eddie's moves in the ring as well. That is man. I rate it.
Who do you reckon's who's gonna win this one?
Cody cannot lose this match for me. He cannot.
Yeah, he can't.
He cannot. If you're gonna try and continue the story and have him beat Roman Reigns, you can't have him lose Dominic and in the future Roman goes to him and say, "You lost to Dominic Mysterio." Like that can't happen. That cannot happen. So
at this point anyway, Dominic Mysterio doesn't need the come ups or the, you know, that kind of heat in regards to winning and stuff like that. I think the more he loses, even if it was a case that he cheated his way or, you know, gets disqualified or whatever it is, it's just it makes him, as I say, red hot in terms of being a heel. And it just obviously continues to push, you know, Cody Rhodes in terms of like that world title push. Yeah. But this is going to be, man, like I said, man, you're going to be lucky enough to be going there. capturing some footage as well.
Yeah.
Kojo's going to be capturing some footage, and we're definitely going to put it up on the show in terms of our recap for Money in the Bank. We'll be discussing that. Obviously, Kojo's going to be giving us the live, interaction of what's going on down there. Where's it going to be? What arena?
O2.
O2. Okay,
Yeah.
so the big O2. It's going to be an amazing. I'm just trying to envision how it's gonna be, the atmosphere, everything. But yeah, man, Coach is gonna come back with that kind of a report back, letting us know what went down. If there's one thing that I would ask you, obviously you're going, what is it that you are looking forward to the most?
Just the atmosphere, man. I think there's nothing that. Well, I'm gonna say this actually. I've been to one takeover, NXT takeover that Triple H obviously when he was in charge of NXT back in I think it was 2016 or 17. I went to one of them. Funny story about that one. I got the ticket 2 hours before the show started.
Sheesh.
Yep. I managed to bust case. The guy said he couldn't make it, so I was a bit tactical. The guy was trying to sell it on Twitter, and he was no one was buying it. And I was like, my guy, I can't lie to you, man. I did the whole I ain't got money right now kind of thing, but I know you can't make it. Is there any, you can feeling kind enough to give the ticket? He goes, just meet me at Wembley, man. I said, perfect. Give me that ticket, man. Off.
Right, so, that's sick. Yeah.
The smaller arena. That's called the OVO arena. No,
yeah.
Anyway, so but yeah, just the atmosphere because Triple H puts. I mean, not just Triple H. I think all the pay-per-views have been a hit so far.
Yeah,
I don't think this one's going to fail, and most of the time, Money in the Bank does not fail. You know, you guys have good matches. Ladder matches are always exciting. It's the atmosphere, man. You know it. You know it just like I do. Whether it's a football crowd or a wrestling crowd, no one does it better than English fans, man. The atmosphere, the songs, the chanting, it's just gonna feel great. So, yeah, man, I just want to be in the crowd and just experience it. It's gonna be a great day.
It's going to be incredible. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Friday is going to be obviously Friday Night SmackDown. So the WWE roster will be here. The SmackDown roster will be here on Friday. Yep. That's going to be taped. That's going to be live in London. And then the following day is Money in the Bank. Then they fly out, right? So there's not going to be no Raw in London.
No, they fly out immediately. Yeah.
So they fly immediately. So if you obviously have opportunity to go, try and go to the Friday taping of SmackDown, and then the main event itself. Some of us are still hoping to be attending. But yeah, that's gonna be on Saturday, so it's gonna be incredible. And like we said at the beginning of the show, man, it had to be something that we discussed because this in itself is history in the making. Since 1992, there hasn't been a main event of WWE in terms of like the main roster. Obviously, NXT has been here, but the main roster, there hasn't been an event since 1992. So this is really, really big. And off the back of this, we're probably hoping, fingers crossed, that WWE can look at the landscape, assess what they've done, and then also assess what AEW is going to be doing, and then be like, you know what? Let's bring WrestleMania to London. And that is going to be a massive dream for most of us wrestling fans that are not able to go out there to the States and go to the TNT arenas. And I don't know all these arenas that they have out there. So, yeah, man, we're going to be looking forward to that. But, yeah, any closing things, Kojo? What you been up to, man?
If it's just my podcast itself, we're just slowly releasing content. Obviously, there's no live Premier League, Champions League, the under 20, is it under 21s? Yeah, they're doing the Euros. It's been a great tournament, but I haven't done much coverage on that. I'm just focusing on the transfers. Soon enough, which I'm going to invite you on as well. I want to do like player profiles. So I want to sometimes focus on a specific player. Sometimes it'll be a legend who undoubtedly has a legacy. We just discuss that. Sometimes it'll be players that maybe before didn't reach their potential. And sometimes it could be players currently who we think, what's working and not working with them. I'm going to start doing some content there. The reason why I haven't been so active is because I've got someone creating a new video for the show. a new intro, which will then want me to now like push everything. New intro, we got new logo, new backgrounds, new content. Hopefully, coming. I'm gonna try and go to a lot more games. So yeah, man, that's just gonna be the next year. It's gonna be a push. It's gonna be a really big push. Obviously, I told you I wanna push this as well. I want to be doing a lot more wrestling shows. I've told baby mum sometimes, yeah, man, you're gonna have to hold that. You just have to look after it. And when she's older and she can run around and do her own thing, she's gonna have to hold that and sit there while daddy does his thing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, free midfield, we're here. I'm just trying to make it reach the potential that I feel like it's had, but we haven't really reached it yet. That's the main thing. And with all respect to the podcast like The Beautiful Game and all these guys, them guys have done their thing, and I'm so proud of them. And I'm happy for them because man, that those guys, they were kind enough to come to my house and do a podcast with us at the back end of lockdown. Or I think no, sorry, no, I think it was end of 2019 before lockdown. I came back from Spain and I invited them to my house to do a show with me and Cahill, and they were more than happy to come over. And that's when they were starting to get more guys, even though they've grown substantially since, but that's when they were starting to get even more guys in, and do their content. I want to try and reach their levels. People like them, that's an inspiration. I respect what they've done. They grinded, they worked their butts off, to the point where they're now Sky Sports regulars. And, when they want to interview someone some more time, they just have to quote tweet the guy and say, the streets are saying, come on the show. The guy will be like, I say less.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. It's
Easy
beautiful.
pathway.
Yeah. And then people like Rest Things as well. They're great
Yeah,
guys.
shout out to the wrestlings, man.
Yeah,
For the man them, by the man them.
yes, come on. They're wonderful guys as well. They were so kind enough to invite me to one of their watch along shows years ago. Not years ago, I say years ago. I think it was last year probably. They did a watch along in I don't know if it was someone's house or like a little sort of like venue thing. They looked like a house though for someone anyway, that one of them guys. But they turned into like a little studio, and they were kind enough to let me be part of that, and it's beautiful, do content with them. And then inspiration as well because they're just pure wrestling fans that love wrestling.
Yeah.
And they interview guys. They content is based on like the games that come out and everything. They're doing wonderful things and they deserve their success because they worked hard for it. So yeah, man, I want us to be like these guys. I want us to push and just get to the levels that I know that we can get to, because I firmly believe, without sounding arrogant, there is very few people that have our knowledge on football and speak or analyze football as well as us. I know what sells sometimes. I don't want to go on that side of selling where it's very controversial, but I want to be known for being good at analyzing the game. That's my thing.
Yeah.
That's how I love football. From when I was, how old was I when my uncle called me? My uncle called me manager, I think, when I was 8 years old. Because whilst they were just talking, whilst my friends would be like, "This guy's good," and that I'll be talking tactics, and they're like, "What's this guy talking tactics for? Like, you're 8, stop it." But they give me that name, and that's the thing I want to push.
Coach Kojo.
Coach Kojo, and then with the wrestling as well. I think we're we're speaking purely WWE, but we love the business, and I feel like we try to analyze rather than just seeing things and taking it for what it is and not knowing what we're talking about and not speaking properly about the business and giving the wrestlers their due respect. So you're not going to catch me on Twitter talking rubbish about Dana Brooke, because Dana Brooke will always be a better wrestler than me, and she does business more than me. So good, going to give her respect, because it's not an easy business to be in, and she doesn't run her stories. The company does it for her, and she will try and do the best of what she's given. So people like her and all the other wrestlers, and people backstage and everything, we'll give them their respect. And whilst we analyze and be as fairly critical as we are, because what you said, for example, about the world title and stuff, is that's not a disrespect. That's just how you feel. But
we're analyzing the products.
There you go, and it's not disrespectful. It's awesome. The world title looks beautiful, but as fans as well, we just feel like we want to see a bit extra from it, and that's fine. And I'm sure wrestlers have their frustrations, and they've aired it out in interviews in the past. It's all comes from a place of respect. But we are fans, and we want to talk about the business properly.
Yeah.
And when people watch the show, not only enjoy our content and how we speak, but also slightly receive an education as well. That's
100%.
what I want to do. So yeah, man. I think I've rambled on for about 8 minutes.
Nah. This is what it's all about, man. You know what I mean? It's for people to understand where we're coming from, and I think you broke it down very, very well. Like, you know, I think that's what we've outlined for this show, is to make people understand, especially when you get in and around this, you know, our ages or younger wrestling fans, to understand we do know that wrestling is quote unquote fake, but we're talking from the perspective of watching a program, a product, and what goes into making this product for the fans. And, you know, as fans, we're here to critique and give our opinions, and also just outright just let you know what the storylines and what's going on, because it is just like watching EastEnders, Love Island, all these kind of things. If something happens on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or these main events, we are here on Do You Still Watch Wrestling to give you all the information. So,
That's
guys,
right.
man, make sure that you go and check out my brother Kojo on Kojo Free in Midfield. He does the football stuff. He's also here doing the wrestling. For myself, A Dash of Sports will be coming back soon. I keep saying it, but it will be coming back soon. That's why I give you all the hot topics and trending stories. And just, you know, you can find me on obviously Kojo's platforms as well. We'll be talking about football. And when the Premier League comes back here as well, we're going to be talking more things about the Premier League. And I will be discussing transfers, but I will be discussing transfers in a way of not being or trying to act like I know everything or every single transfer that's out there, but just to analyze these players that are going to whatever clubs and why, and, like, you know, just kind of rating you know, these transfers, rather than trying to be the in the know kind of person. It's this year I've just been like Sting, man. I've been up in the gantry, I've been up in the rafters. I'm just watching everything. I'm not involved in the transfer window this season, but yeah, man. But everything else is going to be coming very, very soon. We're going to be putting out content, more content for you guys. The best place that you can find it is here on the Dash of Sports, and also you can find it on Kojo's platform as well, Free in Midfield. So without being going on for too long, we're out, man. It's been a great one. Another show, man. Next time you see us, Kojo's going to be Kojo's going to be coming back from Money in the Bank, having a whale of a time, man. But yeah, man, until the next time, guys, we out.